Your dog has been performing the same 6 acts of love every single day of their life with you, and you have been missing almost all of them, not because you don't care, but because nobody ever taught you what love actually looks like when it comes from a dog, and it looks nothing like what you've been told. Stay until the end, because the last act on this list is the one your dog will never stop giving you, even if you never once return it, and once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Welcome to Paw Diaries. If you love your dog and want to truly understand what they've been trying to tell you, subscribe right now. Let's get into it. 1. They follow you into the bathroom. You close the door. You hear the click of nails on the floor. Then a nose appears under the gap, or a paw, or a soft whimper from the other side. Most people laugh at this. They post it online. They call it clingy. Some people even worry something's wrong with their dog, like the following is a symptom of some deeper issue that needs to be corrected. But what your dog is actually doing in that moment is one of the purest expressions of loyalty the animal kingdom has ever produced. And the reason goes deeper than most people are prepared to hear. Dogs are cooperative hunters by origin. Their survival for tens of thousands of years depended on one principle above all others. You do not let a member of your unit disappear from sight without following. This is not a quirk. This is the behavioral foundation of a species that survived the wild by staying together. This is not anxiety. This is not codependency. This is a biological imperative that predates every house, every leash, every bag of kibble you have ever bought. Your dog follows you into the bathroom because somewhere in the oldest part of their brain, a voice is saying, "Where my person goes, I go, no exceptions." A study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that proximity-seeking behavior in dogs, the drive to stay physically close to their bonded human, is one of the most reliable indicators of secure attachment. Dogs who follow their owners from room to room without signs of distress are not anxious dogs. They are deeply bonded dogs expressing the canine version of something we would call devotion if a human did it. And here is what makes this significant. They don't follow everyone. Watch your dog in a room full of people. Watch who they track with their eyes. Watch who they get up to follow when that person moves. It is not random. It is you. That is not a habit. That is a choice your dog makes fresh every single day. And they will keep making it until the day they can't anymore. And here is something worth sitting with for a moment. You are the only person in their world who will ever have this. Other people get the wagging tail at the front door. Other people get the excited greeting. But the quiet following, the need to simply be in the same room, that belongs only to the person they've chosen as theirs. Keep watching, because the next act of love is one your dog has been offering you regularly, and most owners misread it completely. 2. They bring you their toy without being asked. Not during playtime, not when you're waving something in front of their face. They walk across the room on their own, pick something up, carry it over, and drop it at your feet or press it into your hand. Most people see this as a request. They think the dog wants to play, and sometimes that's part of it. But the deeper truth about this behavior is something researchers are only now beginning to fully appreciate. In canine social dynamics, the act of voluntarily offering a resource to another individual is not trivial. Dogs are resource-aware animals. They know what belongs to them. They guard bones, they protect beds, they keep track of where their favourite things are at all times. This is an animal that understands ownership at a level most people don't give them credit for. So when a dog picks up their most valued possession and brings it to you freely, without being asked, without being trained to do it, that is a significant social gesture. It is the canine equivalent of a gift. And like any gift, the meaning is in the giving, not the object. A study from the University of Milan examining prosocial behavior in domestic dogs found that dogs who voluntarily shared resources with their owners, toys, food items, comfort objects, demonstrated stronger affiliative bonds and higher oxytocin levels during interactions compared to dogs who did not display sharing behavior. Your dog is not asking you to throw the ball. Your dog is saying, "This is the thing I value the most, and I am putting it in your hands because you are the one I trust with it." Watch for it tomorrow. The moment they bring you something unprompted, stop and actually receive it. Hold it for a second. Acknowledge what just happened. Because your dog will notice whether you did. They are always noticing. And that awareness, that sensitivity to whether you received what they offered, connects directly to something even more remarkable that we need to talk about next. 3. They check on you when you're upset. You've had a terrible day. You haven't said a word about it. You haven't cried, haven't raised your voice, haven't done anything that would obviously signal distress to another human across the room. But your dog gets up, walks over and puts their head on your knee, or lies down against your feet, or just sits near you with that particular stillness that feels different from their normal resting state. This is not coincidence. This is not projection. This is one of the most scientifically validated emotional capabilities any non-human animal has ever demonstrated. Dogs can detect changes in human emotional states through scent alone. When you are stressed, your body releases specific hormonal compounds, cortisol, adrenaline, that alter your chemical signature in ways that are completely invisible to other humans, but unmistakable to your dog's 300 million olfactory receptors. You cannot hide how you feel from your dog. Your body is telling them the truth even when your face isn't. Research published in the journal PLOS ONE demonstrated that dogs exposed to human stress odors showed measurable changes in their own behavior, increased proximity seeking, more attentive body orientation toward the stressed individual, and elevated alertness. They were not simply noticing, they were responding. But what elevates this beyond detection into something that genuinely resembles empathy is the nature of the response. Your dog does not run from your distress. They move toward it. They close the distance. They place their body against yours. In behavioral science, this is called comfort contact, and it is not common in the animal world. Most species either ignore the distress of others or avoid it entirely because distress signals usually mean danger. Your dog overrides that instinct. They feel that something is wrong with you, and their response is to get closer, not farther away. That is not training. That is love wearing the only shape a dog knows how to give it. And the thing that breaks people's hearts when they finally understand this is realizing how many times it already happened. How many bad days ended with your dog pressed against you and you thought they just happened to be there. They didn't just happen to be there. They came to you on purpose. They felt what you were carrying before you said a word, and they chose to carry it with you. Stay with me because the next one is something your dog does in complete silence, and it might be the most beautiful thing on this entire list. 4. They do the slow blink when they look at you. You glance over at your dog from across the room. They're already looking at you, and then it happens. A slow, deliberate half-closing of the eyes, maybe followed by a soft look away, maybe followed by a long exhale and a settling of the body. Most people don't register this at all. It happens in a fraction of a second and the moment passes. But what your dog just did is one of the most intentional acts of communication in their entire behavioral vocabulary. In canine body language, a hard direct stare is a threat signal. It communicates tension, confrontation, challenge. Every dog knows this instinctively. It is hardwired into their species across every breed, every size, every temperament. So when your dog looks at you and deliberately softens their gaze, when they slow blink or half close their eyes in your direction, they are doing the opposite of a threat. They are consciously signaling peace, safety, and trust. They are telling you with their eyes that they feel no need to guard themselves in your presence. Research from Asabu University in Japan found that mutual soft gazing between dogs and their owners triggers a significant increase in oxytocin levels in both the dog and the human. This is the same hormonal bonding mechanism that activates between a parent and a newborn child. The study described it as an interspecies oxytocin loop, a biological feedback system of affection that has no parallel anywhere else in the relationship between humans and animals. Your dog is not just looking at you, they are medicating your nervous system with their eyes, and they are doing it on purpose. The next time you catch your dog gazing at you softly, return it. Slow blink back. Let your face relax. You won't need words. They already know what it means. And in that moment, both of your nervous systems will be doing the same thing at the same time, calming down, together. Now keep watching because point 5 is about something your dog does with their body that most people feel every day and never once stop to think about what it actually means. 5. They lean their full weight into you, not climbing on you, not jumping, just standing beside you or sitting next to you and slowly, deliberately, pressing the side of their body against your leg, your hip, your arm. It's such a quiet gesture that most people barely register it as a behavior at all. But this is one of the most loaded acts of trust in the entire canine behavioral repertoire, and the reason has to do with something most people never think about. A dog's body is their primary survival tool. Their ability to move, react, and escape depends entirely on having their weight balanced and their muscles ready to respond. When a dog leans their full weight into you, they are voluntarily compromising their own balance. They are making themselves slower to react, harder to right themselves, less capable of fleeing if something goes wrong. No animal does that near a creature they don't trust completely. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition, examining tactile communication in domestic dogs, found that sustained body-to-body contact initiated by the dog was strongly associated with secure attachment classifications and lower cortisol reactivity during stress tests. Dogs who leaned into their owners showed calmer physiological profiles than dogs who sought proximity without physical contact. Your dog is not leaning on you because they are tired. They are leaning on you because your body is the one place in the world where they feel safe enough to let their guard all the way down. Every muscle in their body that normally stays ready, alert, prepared to react, they release all of it against you. That is not casual contact. That is surrender. And here is the part that gets people. They don't lean on everyone. They might greet everyone. They might wag at everyone. But the lean, the full weight, the surrender of balance, that is reserved. That is earned. And if your dog gives it to you, you've been given something that cannot be bought or trained into existence. It can only be built. We have one more act of love left, and honestly, once you hear it, you will never leave your house the same way again. 6. They watch you leave. This is the one. This is the act of love your dog performs that most owners walk right past every single day without ever turning around to see it. You grab your keys, you put on your shoes, you open the door, you step outside and you go, and your dog watches. Not just a glance. They move to the window, they press their nose against the glass, they stand at the door you just closed and they stay there, sometimes for minutes, sometimes longer, watching the last place they saw you, waiting for the world to give you back to them. You have never seen this, because you are always on the other side of the door. But it happens every single time you leave. Every time. A study using in-home camera monitoring conducted by researchers studying canine separation behavior found that the average dog spends between 2 and 5 minutes stationed at the exit point after their owner leaves, exhibiting orientation behavior, stillness, focused attention toward the door or window, not pacing, not destruction, just watching, waiting. And here is what no one tells you about this behavior. It is not separation anxiety. It does not come from fear. Separation anxiety produces pacing, vocalization, destructive behavior. What your dog does at that window is something different. It is grief held in stillness. Your dog does not know if you're coming back. They have no concept of your schedule, your commute, your errands. Every single time you walk out that door, as far as your dog knows, it might be the last time. And they go to the window anyway. They watch anyway. They wait anyway. Not because they've been trained to, not because they expect a reward, because the last thing they want to see before you disappear is you. Think about every act of love we covered in this video. The following, the offering, the comforting, the soft gaze, the leaning, and now this. None of them are dramatic. None of them are loud. None of them require anything from you to be activated. Your dog has been doing all of these things since the day they bonded to you, quietly, consistently, without condition. Not because you asked, not because you earned it in some transactional way, but because that is what love looks like when it comes from a dog. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up in the smallest gestures, and it never ever stops. The next time you leave the house, turn around before you reach the car. Look back at the window. They're there. They always have been. If this video changed the way you see your dog, share it with someone who deserves to see their dog differently too. Subscribe to Paw Diaries. We are here every week going deeper into the bond between you and the animal who chose to spend their entire life loving you. They deserve to be understood. And now, you know how.